Imagine with me it's 2016 again. You just found out David Bowie died, and you're still not as sad as you are about the announcement from Sony that they're making an all-girls Ghostbuster. You've just downloaded Pokemon Go, and you're Googling the most effective ways to trespass to get that sweet Hitmonlee in your local junkyard. Well, somewhere in that prehistoric time period, you find my best friend Mason and I in a Popeyes. We're talking about our favorite things, and Mason is telling me about his favorite movie, Back to the Future Part 2, and his favorite band, 21 Pilots. As I sit there, covered in chicken grease, holding a lukewarm, dry biscuit, I find my mind racing through every single movie I've ever seen and every band I've ever listened to. How could I ever search through this endless treasure trove of cinema and musical art? Then in that moment, Mason broke my trance by telling me that having a favorite thing is the best. You don't have to find yourself in this common, awkward small talk moment if you just pick one and stick with it. I thought to myself, well, this can't be too hard. I knew that the movie that undoubtedly held the most nostalgia and good times in my heart was The Sandlot. I was always a baseball kid growing up, so I related a lot to the characters and the situations they found themselves in. I'm Benny, the cool one. You're like Bertram. You remember Bertram? No, of course you don't, because you're a Bertram. With that pick behind me, there was only one thing left to figure out. My favorite band. Over my life, I've had so many different phases of musical heroes. I even cut my hair like this because of the picture of Adam for 3 Days Grace on the back of my home CD. I rode the Rock and Roller Coaster at Disney World like 10 times in a row just because I loved Aerosmith, and I was convinced that Steven Tyler was the most qualified person to be a judge on American Idol at the time.
I'm gonna sing a song called Tell Your Ma, Tell Your Pa, Our Love Gonna Grow, Wah Wah.
I played multiple Christian metal bands on full blast while playing Black Ops 1 on my CD player. My mom would come in my room and be like, "What are you listening to, honey?" And I would, of course, be able to respond with, "Don't worry, they're screaming about Jesus." How could I pick just one? Then I recalled a single moment from my childhood in 2012. I was in the back of my friend's dad's 2006 Chevy pickup truck. It was super common at the time for my friend's dad to play bands like Slipknot, Korn, and Inner Shikari while we were riding with him. Then one day, he would start up an album by a band he just found. Periphery. This album was the band's sophomore album, Periphery 2. The start of this record gave me the feelings as if I was being lowered into a spaceship, getting ready to be fully launched into a new atmosphere of sounds, production, guitar techniques, and musical concepts. I was completely blown away. When I finally got home, I was able to listen to this full project in its entirety. There were thrashing guitars, hammering away in time signatures I wasn't used to, blistering solos, groovy drums that never let up once, and soaring vocals in a combination that I had truly never experienced before. I developed this really weird habit as a kid where, like in junior high, I would only shower with all of the lights off and listen to music. I genuinely don't know why I did this, but I specifically remember talking to this pretty girl I liked in youth group at the time. I didn't get to talk to her very much because she was also like a little older than me. So when I told her that the bracelets that we all got glow in the dark because I realized it when I was taking a shower, and she replied, "So does that mean you like shower in the dark?" I was completely mortified. But weirdly enough, listening to this album while cleaning myself in the complete dark is some of the most fond memories I have with this thing. After I became completely obsessed with this music, and I wanted to find out about the musicians behind it. I had recently discovered that the guys must have been pretty funny, considering their music video for Scarlet was literally a space war between the band members over whether ketchup or mustard was the better condiment. Later, I would discover that founding member Misha Mansour uploaded studio update videos onto his YouTube channel during the process of recording the very album that I fell in love with.
You don't give a just get it done.
He would go on to continue this and eventually start doing them documentary style for each album into the release of their 7th full-length album. These updates have become a huge treasure to their fan base because they show off the incredibly funny personalities of each band member while also showing off their like once-in-a-lifetime talents.
He said he has some season tickets to the Redskins game. Boy, I'm lying. He ain't got nothing.
I adored these videos. and I watched them for hours and hours and almost studied them. That's how I developed my very first parasocial relationship. Later on in 2014, I would eventually make friends with a bunch of guys because of our shared love of Periphery. One of those guys is actually my friend Christian from In a Given Room. We were all obsessed with these guys and we wanted to be just like them, so we started a band called Macomb County. We did not sound like them. Like at all. Even though our guitar player at the time could play a couple Periphery songs and we thought he was the greatest musician we had ever met because of that. Eventually, towards the end of 2015, we broke up because we were all about to graduate and I was having a panic attack trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I made the mistake of saying, at the end of the day, you know, this band is just kind of a hobby to me and I know I'm supposed to be in ministry. Obviously, we found out how that went. I listened to these guys religiously, and eventually, towards the end of 2020, I got to go see them live for the first time ever with my wife. And it actually inspired me to get back into creating music with a band, and landed me with the guys in Any Given Room. I also just saw them recently, a month ago, and God, I just love them so much. So, there I am, sitting in the Popeyes booth with my best friend, and I look him in the eyes and I say, yeah, my favorite band's probably Saliva.
I'm coming down on the stereo, hear me on the radio. Click, click, boom. I'm coming down with a new style, and you know it's buck wild. Click, click, boom.